afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Girl Get Up podcast. And this is the podcast where I, your host, the Aquarian Chancellor, I share my stories. I invite my guests on. They share their stories, all in hopes that it inspires you, the listening audience, to go out and discover your infinite possibilities. So today I have a guest, Naweh. Please share with the audience who you are and what you do.
Hello, my name is Naweh. I am a singer, songwriter, and an actress. Um, I'm also from, me and C talked about this. I'm from the DMV area, born and raised, born in DC, raised mostly in Montgomery, lived in PG till I was 8. So been all around the DMV area. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay, so you are a singer, you write music as well, and you are also an actress. Growing up in the DMV, I know there was like a couple of schools, you know what I mean, that was geared toward the creatives. But could you share your journey into the career field that you have?
Yeah, so growing up, I'm Liberian American, so I've always been around music. You go to Afro beats now is popular, but growing up, this is what I've known. You know what I mean? So at the African parties growing up, I've been around music, dancing. My mom was a part of the choir at church. She likes to sing as well. My dad loves music, so he would always have music in the house all the time. He would just play it loud on the speakers, and we'd be listening to it. It's just in me. I was in the church choir growing up. I also was in show choir in high school. I don't know if people know what show choir is, but it's very Broadway-esque.
Okay.
Very jazz fingers. You're singing and dancing at the same time. And that's really been my foundation of being singing at church and singing at school.
So once you graduated from high school, what was that thing, that inspiration in you to say, okay, I'm going to pursue music as a career?
So here's the funny part. I went to college. I went to
Mhm.
Towson, and I actually studied sociology
Okay.
because if you know about a lot of West Africans, it's that thing of music isn't really a career.
You know okay, so you know who Toby in I'm sorry, in Nagwe?
Yes, yes,
If
yes.
I'm pronouncing that wrong, please forgive me. But I just looked at a clip that he did where he was telling his mom that he wanted to pursue music as a career. And it didn't go over so well. Yeah.
It's like you got to be a doctor and a musician. Like they're okay with you singing, but it's like you
Mhm.
got to be a doctor and a musician. You got to be an accountant and a musician, but you got to be something else. So for me, I didn't really admit to people that I really wanted to sing. People just saw me always singing. And it wasn't until like in college, my friend Yemisi, who's Nigerian, we're having a conversation and I was like, oh, I really want to sing. I'm thinking I'm telling this big secret. I'm like, oh, I really want to sing. And she was like, no, everybody already knows that. Like this is not, it's not a secret. Like we can tell that's what you want to
Right.
do.
Right.
So I had to really get over that hump of almost like being a little embarrassed about the fact that that's what I wanted to do. It's a strange feeling like you have to kind of get over the fact that this is not a bad thing, that that's what you actually want to do for your career, because you
Mhm.
come from a culture where that they don't mind you singing. Let me say that again. It's just not not a career.
Mhm. So
So
let me ask you this. So as you're, and I'm just, visualizing, and as you're graduating, you know what I mean? Because that whole hustle and bustle, got to send out applications and all of that, and knowing in your heart that you really want to sing, but you have this cultural expectation. How were you able to overcome that and make the decision to step out and focus on artistry?
so I went to undergrad, and then I really wanted to sing afterwards. And there were people like I have my amazing mentor Samantha, who's Liberian as well, who were like, "Oh, you should go sing this and that." But I decided instead to go straight from undergrad to grad school because instead of me saying like, you know what, let's go sing, I was just like, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. So I went directly into grad school from undergrad. Um, and I remember being in grad school, and grad school is hard.
Mhm.
Hard. And I remember I didn't have enough time or a lot of time to really sing during those 2 years. Um, and so it made me kind of like a little sad because if God put something in you and you're not doing it,
Yeah.
it so I remember this is when I got over the hump. And thankfully, I'm so blessed that I have a best friend who also sings too. She's Dominican. Same situation with her, like same journey a little bit. And
Mhm.
so I remember talking to my oldest brother, who's like he's like 10, 11 years older than me. So this is like my big brother. And I'm talking to him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm really proud of you. I was about to graduate." And he said, and I said, "Yeah, but I still don't get to do what it is that I want to do." And he stopped me. He said, "Naweh, newsflash, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want to do." And that, for some reason, it clicked in me. And when I graduated, I just went full force. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And my
That
parents are very supportive, by the way. My family, like they love that I like to sing. I think they just wanted me to go to college
is.
first.
Yeah, but you know what? That's real because if it doesn't work out the way that because we all have expectations and hopes and dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that, but to have something to fall back on if it doesn't work out as expected is so important.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about your name a little bit, and I thought it was beautiful. Could you share what Nawe means?
So Nawa comes from the Bassa tribe in Liberia, and it means it is finished. It's usually given to the youngest child. And so I'm the youngest and the only girl. So my mom just loved the name, and she knew a woman that that was her name. And my mom named her only daughter, and my dad, Nawa.
All right, so let's talk about some challenges that you have faced along this journey of artistry. I know as women, we can get caught up in image.
Yeah, I mean, image, unfortunately, I think more so than men is a big thing for women, which really sucks because you could be the most talented, but you'll see, look, people who selling, you know, showing everything, they'll have a bunch of likes on their page. But when a woman, you'll see that she'll put her music up there, her acting up there, or her dancing up there, and might not get as many likes or as many shares, right? So it can be a struggle, but for me, I'm always going to fall on my talent. I'm
Mhm,
always going because I was taught very much by especially my dad, that your mind is what's going to take you places.
mhm,
That's what's going to take you places. So, because we're not going to be young forever, right? You're not, we're going to be 80. Now, what do you have to fall on at that point when you're 80, 90? And you can still be beautiful at 80 and 90, but you don't
mhm,
look the same, right? And so, if all you're falling on is your body and how you look, you don't have any substance at that point when those times come. So
mhm.
that's kind of what I hold on to, is like I have to always fall on my talent. Of course, you still go out and you look nice,
Yeah,
but fall on your talent.
yeah. So for you, what is that thing that you maybe may hear? Because and I'm saying this in the sense of maybe somebody may want to book you. Do they tell you, hey, we need you to show up like this? I mean, like, so what did boundaries? And I saw a post
Oh
that
yeah.
you put up about boundaries. So what is that boundary for you? And I'm asking for other young women or other young artists who might be coming up, who might hear this interview and may have difficulties setting boundaries around their image and how they want to show up.
Absolutely. What people don't know this about me is that my other brother, is always in the background. So you might see me out walking alone and interacting, but if I'm working with somebody, my brother knows. If I'm like, usually if I'm having a conversation about something, I run it by my brother. I'm a big believer that men know men and women know women.
Mhm.
So if I'm a little iffy about something, I'll run it by him and he'll say, handle it this way, do it this way. So I don't, in terms of the image piece, I haven't run into that too much. I do what I feel comfortable doing. I wear what it is that I feel comfortable wearing. And I think that people who are around me know I'm not gonna budge too much on anything. You're not gonna see me do certain things because it's just not me. I don't know if it's just because I've gotten to that point now, but yeah, I really keep certain people close to me. And my brother is somebody that I'm always running ideas by. So when it comes to boundaries in terms of how I look or what I wear, or even boundaries in terms of what people say to you, men trying to get over on women, with different things. My brother knows everything. He knows everything that I'm doing. So you can't get over on me. And if you do, life happens. But
No, really, that's important because, as women, we are seen as vulnerable. Like, because we're so, especially if you not, you know.
yes,
So yes, but it's important to know for up and coming artists that you don't have to show up a certain way in order to get views.
boundaries in life, it's important in general, right? So for me, I think boundaries keep you safe, and you have to be okay with not being liked. You have to be okay with people being upset with you. And I always say, like, and you saw in my post, there's a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I a lot of people that I've worked with, I don't really have negative experiences with people that I work with. I do it in a certain way because it's me. Like you said, some people are more raw. I have friends where they know from the get go, don't mess with them. I'm not that person. Like people see me and they're like, oh, she's friendly. And because I have that type of personality, I already know people try to push boundaries with me. And what people find out is that, I remember somebody saying this about me one time. They say still waters run deep. Like it was an older woman. She said still waters run deep.
Run deep. Mm-hmm.
And that's very much me. Like, yes, I know how to adapt. I know when to smile and be friendly, but I also know in a second, you're not going to make me do something that I'm uncomfortable with. And I will literally walk away from situations that make me uncomfortable.
Earlier, you said you had a mentor. How important is mentorship in this industry?
Oh my gosh, I have so many different mentors and they have really guided me. Some of them are not in music. Some of them have been like my mentor, Samantha, is a lawyer.
Yes,
She's a lawyer,
one of
right?
them three A's: attorneys, accountants, and assistant. Yep.
That's funny. My oldest brother's an accountant too. So that's another thing. But I have so many mentors. I have my vocal coach. I have my piano teacher, and they're women who, they understand how to navigate things. They help me continue to put up boundaries. They help me to protect myself. They help me to know when to speak, when to do this. My brother would go, oh, I love my brother. So the one right above me would go around with me to shows. And he kind of taught me how to speak up for myself in a way. For example, if I have a sound check, he would just go up to people and be like, hey, she needs a sound check. Whereas me, I was more timid. I was way more shy. So I learned from watching him or even him taking risks. If you know him, he's very much like nothing bothers him at all. Like nothing stresses him out. I've never seen him and my mom, nothing stressed them out.
Oh, shout out to
So
mom.
yeah, nothing stresses them out. So my brother would go to shows, and I remember we went to one fashion show that I was singing at, and I like used to have these pens that I would put my name on
Mm-hmm.
and give to people. So they had gift bags. And
Okay.
I remember my brother started walking around like he's a rule breaker in a good way. He started walking around putting my pens into the gift bags. And I was like, Jay, I don't think you can do that. He was like, man, I don't care. So now when my best friend, she sees me, she was like, Naweh, you know how to walk into a room when we're doing music stuff and just like work the room. I learned that from my brother.
Yes, that's key. I like that he did that. So you were featured on Channel 9's Great Day, Washington. Share about that.
Yes. So I tend to do this thing where I'll like ask for opportunities, which is really funny. Then I'll get really scared afterwards. So my voice teacher was like, girl, didn't you ask them to do this? So I throw darts. I just throw darts and I'm like, whichever one catches. So I was actually featured twice because
Okay.
one, I was a spotlight artist. I just reached out to them, submitted my information, and they interviewed me. And I got to talk about my music. They shared my music video. I got to also talk about my culture, growing up in the DMV area, and like merging those two cultures. The second time, though, after I got like really, familiar with them, I was like, oh my gosh, creating opportunities for yourself, which is what I learned from my mentors. I said, February is coming. I wonder if they need somebody to sing the Black National Anthem
Mhm.
on there. So I reached out to them. It was a complete stab in the dark. I was like, you know what? Let me try it. And they said,
Okay.
oh, yeah. They said, yeah, come into the studio and we'll have you sing, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And
Okay.
I didn't expect them to say yes. So I was like, oh, wait. I was like, wait, y'all said yes? So,
Mhm.
but that's how I am. I take opportunities and I just get prepared for them.
Yeah. So what makes you that risk breaker or that rule breaker? What in you is like makes you take those chances? Because a lot of people may be intimidated and a lot of people may be scared. And a part of that independent artist game is that you are in control. Like you have to, if you want something, you have to step up and ask for it.
I think for me, the fear of not making it is scarier than the fear of like making myself embarrassed.
Hmm.
That's what drives me, like that fear of like, I want to do this so badly that I am just going to take the risk. Um, I gotta think like, is it something that I've like just learned? I don't know. I think when it comes to music, I just do it. I don't know why. And
Hmm.
if you know me, I actually like growing up, I was very shy. Like they were surprised that my parents were surprised I would get on stage and sing alone.
Are you ready to take control of your personal and professional journey? If you are chasing creative goals, building your dream brand, or landing that perfect job, I've got the tools to help you succeed. Need that perfect handheld accountability planner? The accountability planner for the creative woman is your ultimate companion for staying focused and turning big dreams into actionable steps. Or are you struggling to align your brand with your business goals? Well, the How to Conduct a Brand Analysis Guide breaks it all down, giving you step by step strategies to refine your brand and grow your audience. Or last but not least, for those climbing the corporate ladder, the resume toolkit gives you everything you need to craft a standout resume and land your next big role. From day one, I've always let you know that you are the star. So shop with me and take your first steps toward your brightest future. Start your journey to success today. Now, back to the episode.
Like people who knew me, I remember when I was a child, I got on stage and one of my parents' friends just happened to be at the event. And she was like, now I got on stage and sang alone because I was so shy. I think it's just when God puts something in you and you don't do it, you feel very uncomfortable. And so I think that's what the root of it is I just get very uncomfortable and I start really beating myself up if I don't take the risk. I know some people who are just fearful because it's scary. Like you doing music and doing acting and doing dancing, anything arts wise, you're literally putting your diary out there to the world. You're vulnerable to the world. So I understand why it's scary.
Yeah, yeah. And to put yourself in a position to be looked at. And what are
Yeah.
they saying? What have you learned about yourself along the way?
Ah, that's a good question. That I'm much stronger than I thought I was. I'm much stronger than I thought I was. Like I said, I was very, very shy. And I still honestly, anybody who knows me, I'm an introvert. You'll see me
Mhm.
at an event and then you won't see me for 3 weeks. Like I know how to like smile and then go away because I like, I still that person is still in me. when they say God has given you all the tools, you just have to unlock it. That's what I've learned about myself. Like it's in me.
Yeah. So that said, define your version of success.
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. So I'll say this. For me, I am very much, well, so in my head, my music mentors in my head that are like, that don't know me are Will Smith and
Mhm.
Beyonce.
Okay.
So I am delusional.
Mhm.
Okay. And Will Smith talks about that. Like you have to be next to delusional to want to do the things that we want to do in music. So my version and definition of success for me is to be content and happy with wherever it is that I'm placed and whatever
Mhm.
it is that I'm supposed to do within my purpose. But
Yeah.
I go for the top. I'm gonna shoot for everything that is high. I don't shoot. J. Cole said you don't shoot for what do you say? You shoot for the stars and like hopefully you get somewhere there. Like
Yeah.
I don't shoot for low hanging fruit. I'm going for the top of the tree.
I will say this. I'll speak for myself. I can gradually climb myself there because there is no race. You know what I mean? I am my biggest competition. You have to participate in little things to just open yourself up.
I think
You
something that
know?
you just said too is like something else that I do. I think that is key, and I'm
Mhm.
guessing you do it too. I literally, I've never been a person that's been intimidated by other people when I walk
Yeah.
into a room because I'm not focused. For me, I actually, if I see somebody in a room and they're an amazing singer, I'm trying to figure out, oh, what can I learn from them? You
Yeah.
know, not how can I compete? Because at the end of the day, no one can do anything the way that Naweh does it. Same way no
No.
one can do anything the way that C does it. So I'm trying to grab from C and see, okay, like what can I learn from her? This is my journey. So I think that's another key for me is that I'm just not intimidated by other people. I'm not focused on how you sing or how beautiful you are, or you know what I mean? Like I don't care. I focus on me.
Because everybody has something to bring, to add to the pot and bring to the table. That's a fact. Let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the fun part. Now, I was poking around because I wanted to find some of your songs because I love listening to new artists and independent artists. And the song that I like the most was Find You.
Really?
Did. You know why? Because I like the message. Like one of the things that I saw in your songs was love.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things that I was like, oh. So when I saw the video, I kind of liked it because it shows genuine relationships and how they're built. They're built off friendships
Yeah.
first, and then gradually, you know what I mean? And I thought that that was real and heartwarming, and it was genuine. Could you talk about the inspiration behind that song?
So it's so funny. I have this group chat with these two other singers and songwriters and singer and song. My parents were teachers too, by the way. So every time I talk, I'm just like singer songwriter. Is that the right way? Um, and we talked about how like everything now in R&B is toxic love, and
Mhm.
although there's a space and place for it, like I love it, right? Because it's true. It's people's experiences, but we just want a little bit of love too.
Yeah.
And so the inspiration came from that idea of like I just felt like there needed to be a little bit more love, and that's a real experience of wanting to find someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with or be with, and that's a little bit of where that inspiration came from.
You can sing down. I don't care.
Thank you.
You can sing down. So
Thank
I kind of well, I don't know. Let me hear your opinion first before I say what I think. If you can fit yourself in a genre, if you had to put yourself in a genre, what genre would that be?
I actually want to hear what you have to say first, but I'll do it. It's yes, shall. So I'll say it. Um, because I know where people usually put me, and I think that's what's in the back of my mind. Where I was like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, I kind of fit. So I would say R&B, but the R&B that I think I go towards, or people usually put me in, would be like Coco Jones, Jasmine Sullivan, like that category.
Oh,
None.
And this is just based off the Find You. I'm kind of thinking like R&B, but neo soul a little bit.
Okay, yeah, people do. I think you don't think Jasmine's a little bit neo soul?
She has that raspiness, but not to me.
Okay.
I still will put her in the R&B category.
Yeah, people usually put me in neo soul.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's soft. It's and correct me if I'm wrong, melodic.
Mhm.
Is that the word? Okay, thank you. And it's you can when I think of the word love, I would think of it being something soft. So
Yeah.
if you coming from the DMV now, what would be a DMV artist that you would love to collab with?
I have to go with because I just feel like he put DC on the map, the DMV on the map. You know who I'm gonna say?
Of course.
Wale.
That would be a great collab. I would love to listen to that. Okay. So outside of the DMV area, if you could do a collab, who would that be?
Anybody? Okay, so many people actually. I love
Okay.
Coco Jones. I
Mm-hmm.
love Jasmine Sullivan. I love her. I love, who I really love right now? And I just love her story. I love Victoria Monet. I think Victoria
Okay.
Monet is beyond talented. So I would love to work with her. Of course, everybody wants to work with
Yeah,
Beyonce. Like,
everybody wants to work with
Beyonce
Beyonce.
is my mentor in my head. Like
Yeah.
Victoria Monet said in her speech, she was like, you raised some of us musically. And it's so true. Like, that's who I always look to when I think about my work ethic.
She also, when you think of image and how she shows up, she is the perfect person that I would say has kind of traversed those waters of, you want to be edgy, sexy, but then you want to show up in a way as to where you're not selling sex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think she as the biggest star that she is, and there's a lot of other women too that, are modest in that way. But I think she is the icon, I would say, when you're talking about being in control of how you show up. I pay attention to her when it comes to that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm. NDAs on like I'm
Yeah.
not going everywhere. Like, you're not gonna see me everywhere. I'm not showing up at every event, you know what I mean? And when I do, it's a purpose. You know what I mean? Like I
At
think
least
that
5 minutes into it. Beyonce don't even be at like I say, well, Beyonce shows up for 5 minutes and then she's like, all right.
or she'll send a video clip that they play in the middle of the show. Like, so what can we expect from Nawe in the future?
Yes. So I am working on new music. I am working on a song. It is called Heartbeat. So a little bit more
Okay.
of the love songs that you like to hear. Um, I am still, doing shows, auditioning for, music, acting, different things. So I told you I go in and out of Atlanta. I'm now based in North Carolina. So more art,
Hmm.
more videos, more music. But yes, look out for Heartbeat. That will be coming out soon.
Yeah, was that a natural transition for you um to go from music to acting?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was so different. And I was very nervous. It's really funny because when I first auditioned for something acting wise,
Mhm.
I worked with my acting teacher for a whole year before I
Okay.
actually auditioned for something. And I remember my acting teacher kept telling me, he was like, no, you're doing good.
Mhm.
I had never acted, so I was just like, "Are you sure?" So I went into audition for something, and I remember the guy looked at me and he was like, "You're good. Like you're really good." And in my head, I was like, "I am." Like it was so different, but now I feel confident. I remember going to what is it called? Have you ever heard of the DC Music Summit?
I have.
I went there, I think it was like the year before last, and I
Mhm.
was in a workshop. And I remember I kept saying, yeah, I'm a singer songwriter and I'm a growing actress. And I remember this woman said to me, she was like, that's not how it works with acting. You're either an actress or you're not. So basically, she was telling me, you need to stop saying you're a growing actress. You're an actress.
Yeah.
So no, it was not a smooth transition.
Do you have any projects or albums or singles that you already have that you would like to promote now?
Yes. So I have another song called Visions.
Okay.
And it's just talking about the journey, and it's talking about basically ignoring what other people say. You have to have tunnel vision. And sometimes even people who love you might say things too, because
Mhm.
people can't see the vision. So you have to keep certain people close and near you who really, really get it. Um, so Visions is very much about that. Another song, it's not very much a love song. However, it's a song that is real. It's called
Okay.
Not There Yet. It's a
Okay.
little, it's a little more, not lovey-dovey, but it's life.
Okay.
So those are the two songs, and I'm working on more songs.
Well, we're going to include those in the show notes so that the audience can go and check out your music. Before I let you go, this is a platform of inspiring people to believe in our infinite possibilities. I know you said that, and I also picked up on one of your posts that you love, love, love Will Smith.
Yes.
And you listen to all of his motivational messages. So could you share one with the audience that has been most impactful for you?
I have adored Will Smith since I was a child. Like legit, him and Beyonce, when I say they are my two favorite entertainers. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. So two things that he said that keeps me going. He talks about getting on the treadmill, and he says, if me and this other person are on the treadmill, either two things are going to happen. Either that other person is going to get off, or I'm going to die trying. And that's where that message of me saying, like, I'm not intimidated by anybody. I wish everybody well, but I'm going to get on this treadmill and I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's the one thing where I focus on my work ethic. I don't focus on, yes, you want to like have hair, makeup, this and that, lashes, all of that. But at the end of the day, there are many women with hair, makeup, lashes, and but talent is what's going to get you to where it is that you need to be. So for me, that's one of the biggest messages he's taught me, where it's like, you might be more talented than me, you might also be prettier than me, you might have more money than me, but I'm going to outwork any and anybody that I see in a room. That is what I lean on. A second thing that he said, I read his book. If you haven't read his book, you really should. It's so inspiring.
Okay.
But he talks about his dad making him and his brother build a brick wall when he was like a kid, and he made them build this brick wall around like his store.
Mhm.
And he said he was so overwhelmed with how they were going to do this. He said, I don't know how we're going to build a brick wall. And he said finally he decided he was going to take one brick and lay it as perfectly as he could, just as precise as he could. And he said that's how he's operated in his career. He said you just build it brick by brick. If you look at the whole big picture, you're going to get overwhelmed, but you need to take it step by step. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
It takes the pressure off one day at
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah, because we do kind of beat ourselves up and we're just like, oh, I want this, I want that. And then it does become overwhelming. Like Beyonce did not become Beyonce overnight. Like she had to take acting lessons, or she had to take dance lessons. She had to, like, these people didn't just, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. These people
Mm.
just show up on TV.
Like you said,
Like, and I think people forget that.
yeah. But see, that's why I was asking, like, what is your version of success?
Mhm.
Because people think that being able to show up on TV, you know what I mean, and then just hit 10 million overnight. Can you last that long? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what is that cutoff for you? What is that? You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of failure You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In certain areas along the way. And let me rephrase that. Let me not say failure. I would say challenges because everything is not going to work out the way that you think that it should.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But like, have you ever seen that meme where it says like learn not to quit, but to rest instead?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes like my piano teacher was just talking to me about that. She was like, yeah, when you get tired, just take a rest, like rest for a few days, and then you just kind of get back on it. And I think it's beneficial because she also sings as well. So it's good to have somebody who you can look up to and who can inspire you and push you and all of that. So
Yeah. And have that version of success for yourself.
yeah. But I'm delusional. I tell people I want to be on TV.
Yeah. Then that's what it is. You know what I mean? And there's no shame in that, none whatsoever, because that's my version of success. And but for people who may not know,
Yeah.
it's important. Have that vision for yourself. Don't
Yeah.
let anybody else define that for you because
Yeah.
you're the one that got to put in the work every day.
Can I say this too? You're so right in that because I talked to my best friend who is always on this journey with me, and her version of success is literally, she said, I just want to be able to make money and be able to live off of music. So it's not to be on TV, it's to be able to like tour and make money and kind of like how you do a 9 to 5 job. That's her
Mhm.
version of success. So everybody does have their different version of success. Me, I want to be on TV.
Hey, well, let us know. Keep us. Look, where can we find you? Where can we find Naweh, your social media, your website, so that when you on TV, we can say,
My IG, you can find me on IG and TikTok, and I'm also trying to build up my YouTube, by the way.
okay,
But it's Naweh Music, NAWEH Music on everything.
okay. So Naweh Music for the listeners, we're going to include everything in the show notes. Thank you, Naweh, for hanging in there with me on the Girl Get Up podcast. You hang on. I'm going to let you go the right way, but everyone else, we will see you next episode. Take care, everyone.